There are three ways to add, update, and manage routing table entries: automatic, static, and dynamic. In the previous video of this series, we learned about the automatic routing method. We will learn the dynamic routing method in upcoming videos. In this video, we will use the static routing method. This method can add three types of routes: static, floating static, and default. A static route is the single best route for the destination. If we configure it, the router adds it to the routing table and uses it to reach the destination. A floating static route is the second best route for the destination. It is a backup route. If the primary route fails, the router dynamically adds it to the routing table. If the primary route becomes available again, it removes the backup route and adds the primary route again. A default route represents all networks. The router uses it only when no other route to the destination is available. The IP route command in global configuration mode adds a static route to the routing table. It accepts 5 arguments: destination network, subnet mask, next hop IP address or exit interface, administrative distance, and permanent keyword. The value of these arguments classifies the added route as static, floating static, or default route. If we specify the network or host address of a particular IP subnet, it is called a static route. If we use an address that belongs to all IP addresses, it is called a default route. If we configure administrative distance, it is called a floating static route. Let us start with the static route. Access global configuration mode on router 0. A static route defines a manually added route. It needs the network or host address of the destination. On this router, we need to add routes for networks 30 and 40. Specify the network address and subnet mask of the network 30. Next, specify the next hop IP address or exit interface. The router uses it to forward incoming data packets. Type ? And press enter to list all applicable options. We will learn the difference between the next hop IP address and the exit interface in the upcoming video. By now, let's use the next hop IP address. The next hop IP address is the IP address of an interface available on another router. A route to reach it must exist in the routing table. For example, here, we specified the IP address 20.0.0.2 as the next hop IP address. It is configured on serial 0/0/0 of router 1. A route to reach this address is also available in the routing table. Add another static route for network 40. Since both networks are accessible through router 1, use the same IP address as the next hop IP address. After adding static routes for both networks, rerun the show IP route command to verify the static routing method. These are the static routes we have just added. These routes allow router 0 to forward incoming data packets for networks 30 and 40 to router 1. However, it does not enable communication between LANs. To enable communication between LANs, we need to add routes on all routers. Access global configuration mode on router 1 and add static routes for networks 10 and 40. Use the IP address configured on the serial 0/0/0 of router 0 as the next hop IP address for network 10. For network 40, use the IP address configured on the serial 0/0/1 of router 2. Verify both routes in the routing table. These are the static routes we have just added. On router 2, we need to add routes for network 10 and 20. Both networks are accessible through serial 0/0/1 of router 1. Use its IP address as the next hop IP address for both routes. We have added the necessary routes on all routers. Now, all routers have routes to reach all networks. It enables communication between all LANs. To verify this, let us send ping requests from PC 0 to server 0. As we can see here, PC 0 can access server 0. It verifies the static routes we added on routers. A floating static route is a backup route. We use it when the primary route is down. If we use dynamic routing, the routing protocol automatically manages routes in the routing table. For example, if a destination has 2 routes, the routing protocol compares both routes and adds only the best route to the routing table. It keeps the second route in its own table as the backup route. If the primary route fails, it immediately adds the backup route to the routing table. If the primary route comes online again, it removes the backup route and adds the primary route. In static routing, we have to do all these things manually. We have to define which route is the best and which is the backup route. If we add the second route without specifying its priority, the router uses it for load balancing. For example, here, we added an additional route for network 40. Since we did not specify its priority, the router added it as an extra route to reach network 40. If a router has more than one route for a destination in the routing table, it uses them for load balancing in a round-robin method. If a route goes down, the router removes it and uses the remaining routes for load balancing. If it comes back, the router automatically adds it again. We can use this approach to add a backup route. However, it is not an optimal way. The main issue with this method is that we have no control over which route the router uses to forward incoming packets. For example, here, we have two routes between networks 10 and 40. We want routers to use this route as the primary route. Routers should use this route when the primary route is down. If the primary route is up, the router should not use it. However, it is not possible with the current configuration. To verify this, we can print the route data packets taken to reach network 40 from network 10. As we can see here, they took the backup path instead of the primary. Adding multiple static routes with the same priority for the same destination is useful when you use them for load balancing. However, if you want to use them for backup, define their priority. Routers use AD values to define priority for routes. An AD value is the trustworthiness of the source. It is a unique number on a scale of 0 to 255. A router can learn routes from many sources. It assigns a unique AD value to each source. The default AD value of a static route is 1. Use the value 5 for the backup route. With this configuration, router 2 will use the backup route only when the primary route fails. It keeps the primary route in the routing table and the backup route in memory. As we can see here, it removed the backup route. Now, it is only the primary route. Repeat the same steps on router 0. First, remove the current backup route. Then, add it again with the custom AD value. Keep the primary route as it is. When a source adds a route to the routing table, the router attaches the source's AD value to it. If the source provides a custom AD value, it uses that. If not, it uses the default value. Since we did not specify the AD value of the primary route, the router used its default AD value. The AD value helps the router decide which route is reliable for a particular destination. A source with a lower AD value is more reliable than a source with a higher AD value. If multiple routes for the same destination are available, the router keeps only the route with the least AD value in the routing table. It keeps the remaining routes in memory for backup. If the route with the least AD value fails, it picks the second least AD value route. If the first route comes online again, it adds that and removes the second route. To verify this, we can print the route data packets take to reach network 40 from network 10. As we can see here, they took the primary route. At this time, both routes are up. Therefore, router uses the primary route to forward data packets. If it fails, routers will use the backup route. Remove this link. It will bring the primary route down. Now, print the path again. As we can see here, this time, data packets took the backup route to reach the destination. We can also view routing table entries to verify this. As we can see here, when the primary route is down, it uses the backup route to forward incoming data packets. A floating static route always has a custom AD value. A router uses it only when no other route with a lower AD value is available to reach the destination. Now, let us add this link again. It brings the primary route up. As soon as the primary route comes online, the router removes the backup route and adds the primary route again. We can check routing table entries again to verify this. As we can see here, the routing table has the primary route again. It verifies the floating static route we added to the routing table. That's all for this video. In this video, we learned about static and floating static routes. In the next video, we will learn about the default route. If you have any comments, suggestions, or feedback about this video, please share them in the comments section.